You are Locked On Hurricanes Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Hurricane fan? Welcome to your Canes Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Let me scooch myself up there. Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. It's been a long season, hasn't it? And now that the season is over, we get our chance. I guess we got our chance to make a case, right? There's nothing the media can do to make a case for any of this stuff right now. But, man, the Miami Hurricanes needed to go in and dominate number 22 Pittsburgh today on the road. Miami coming in ranked number 12, and they did that emphatically. 38-7 the final, late touchdown. I know this isn't the team that's going to hang 50 on people, guys. They're not the team that was going to go in and beat Virginia Tech. They couldn't even get 40 there, 40 today at Pittsburgh, but a pretty good win against a pretty good Pittsburgh team. Is it enough to get us in? I have no idea. Is it enough to get us in? I have no idea. I know there's a lot of speculation in the chat. And first things first, I want to thank you for making us your first watch or listen every day on the number one podcast network in sports, the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're the number 10 channel. Look at that. It makes the U. Number 10 channel. And this is from all the hard work that Alex has done over the years. He is phenomenal. Alex Dono here with Locked On Canes, the podcast. So check him out every day. Postcast, it's probably our last one of the season. And I say probably because, you know, there's a chance we could still make the playoffs. I don't want to be doom and gloom. Alabama could lose to Auburn. A ton of things could happen. But if Notre Dame gets in and we don't, it's complete and total BS. There's no reason to even play the games. You know what I'm saying? You're right, James, in God's hands or at Auburn's hands if they beat Alabama. Look, Alabama blew it by losing to Oklahoma. That was one game that Alex and I have looked back on quite a bit. But we got a big show today. Tony has done it again. Woo! And you know, it feels good. I'm showing my age there. Tony. It worked out, then they worked it in. Tony has done it again. He did it in all three ways. I mean, he ran the ball a little bit, threw a touchdown pass again, caught another one. Malachi Toney, the sensational super-frosh for Miami, with a big game today, and they needed it without a big performance from the running game. Defensively, dominant. Lights out from the beginning. One of Bain's best games of his career of the year. They had 4 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss on defense, held them to 30 yards rushing. So we'll see. You know, I mean, back-to-back 10-win seasons. You know I don't love Mario Cristobal and Shannon Dawson. They've gotten better as the season's gone on. But look, they played Syracuse, NC State, and Virginia Tech, 3 of their last 4 games, and Pittsburgh, which was reeling after their coach was stupid, right? And he said, I don't care about the Notre Dame game. It's not a conference game. I care about conference games. Well, you know what you should have cared about, Coach, was winning your games. And Miami dominated them on their home field just like Notre Dame did. Miami has better wins than Notre Dame has, and a couple of games have really hurt our chances. But we'll go through that with Alex when he comes on. That's his life right now, is going through all these things. But meantime, I want to give you a shout out. All you people in the comments, we appreciate you. Don't forget, after every game, we're live on YouTube. Then we upload, you download Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, and, of course, you download OTT. Yeah, you know me. It's over-the-top television, and it is Roku. 3 touchdowns for Carson Beck. 2nd straight 10-win season. We already went through the rundown. Now we wait for the committee. Want to make sure that we thank all of you for being here. Week in, week out, all of you in the comments, the live chat as the show goes on. We're the number 10 channel out of over 200 plus on the number 1 sports podcast network in the world. I'm also on Locked On Dolphins, and I do the squad show with Jeff Scanina and Kyle Krabs, and we're the number 11 channel. So I'm on number 10, number 11, some real good company. Channels built by Alex Dono and Kyle Krabs, 2 of the very, very best in their industries, right? But we'll see, man. I mean, was our Pitt win better than the Notre Dame win over Pitt? Who the hell cares? We beat Notre Dame. I mean, apples to apples, right? Like, that's why you play the games. And they say if you're not within 3 rankings, we don't look at head-to-head. What a bunch of crap that is. And I don't want to get into any of this stuff right now. I don't want to get into any of this, you know, we should be in because, and I know that's what we're going to be doing here. Ohio State's going to be unanimous number 1, Indiana number 2, and Texas A&M lost to Texas. So think about that. Old Arch getting it done. And so it's crazy when you think about that too, because that, you know, they're saying if Michigan would have beaten Ohio State and Texas would have win over A&M and they could pass us and this and that, but nobody's passing us right now after the wins we've had, after the way we've played. We've climbed back up rapidly after we dropped in the rankings. But that SMU game, guys, come on. They're going to end up winning tonight, playing in a conference title game. Should have been us. We had that game won, should have been up by 40 in that game, should have scored in overtime before they had a chance to touch the ball. Shoulda, coulda, all the above. Same thing with the Louisville game, right? We're coming back. We were in field goal range to send it to OT, trying to go for the win. Both those losses, I believe, by a total of 9 points. And look at where we are now. All this nonsense of having the smaller schools in for what? For show? I mean, it's a dog and pony show. The more college football tries to fix things, the more they screw things up. And it's just what they do. But, man, what a win today for Miami. I don't want to say that this team haven't been in love with this team offensively this year. The weapons offensively not the same as last year. The running game clearly not the same without Damian Hernandez. He was gone. But when you think about having Cam Ward the number 1 pick and you had such high expectations for Carson Beck coming in here, the guy completes 75% of his passes. He had a couple brain farts, and they were at the biggest times of the season. But how about the way he carried you at FSU when they shut down the run? How about the plays he made late against Notre Dame and Florida, and early in the season? So Carson Beck, I'm not going to give out grades now. I'll do that with Alex on a future show. But you go up there today and you get the win. And one thing that I found to be pretty, awesome for Miami in this game, and one thing that, look, they were forced to punt on their first drive. Beck sacked, 15-yard loss, right? They scored on their next 5 possessions, minus the 1 run where they ran out the clock at the end of the half. A field goal, then 4 straight touchdowns, right? Methodical, just kicking ass. They got the late touchdown as well, but, they got held to the punt on their first drive. Then it was a field goal, 9 plays. 7-play touchdown drive, 9-play touchdown drive, 12-play touchdown drive, 6-play touchdown drive. Then they finally punted. Then they threw a pick, then a 7-play touchdown drive. But the punt and the pick were late as they're trying to add on, right? And get more quote-unquote style points. All right, so we are about 3 minutes off of a break. So we'll bring Alex on for just an abbreviated segment here with Alex Dono, unless he can hang out, but he's got the network post-game show on QAM. So Alex, we'll go a little late on the break with you if you need to bounce, but I didn't want to make this a negative show today. I've done enough of that this year. We know what was, and the SMU and the Louisville game are right there hanging over our heads like guillotines. But as far as this game went, it was just a microcosm of the season. Should have been a blowout. Miami a couple times late, the punt and the interception, not keeping it close, but less of a blowout. The game's still in the 30s. I don't want to make it about that, though, Alex. What I want to make it about is playoff possibilities with you.
Yeah.
Computer with this stuff. So I know Alabama needs to lose tonight to Auburn. I know LSU's got a big win to get for us tonight as well in the SEC. So there's still some things that could happen that get Miami into a playoff before we start screaming about Notre Dame.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I don't know how you can say should have been a blowout. I mean, this was a blowout. I mean, there were, three drives the entire game where Miami didn't score. The defense held them to 7. I would consider this a blowout. In fact, Grease, this was more – Miami beat Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh by more than Notre Dame did. Notre Dame beat them 38-15 in a game that Pat Narduzzi, the Pitt head coach, said, doesn't matter if we lose to Notre Dame by 100 because only the conference games matter. They were trying to lose that game by 100. They only lost it by 23 points, and Miami beats them by 31 points. I think this was – listen, again, obviously, if I could build myself a DeLorean and I could go back in time, I would love to change what happened in the Louisville game and in the SMU game. But as far as what Miami could control today, I thought it was very emphatic. I love the fact that they're, as they were in Virginia Tech, still going for the jugular in their final offensive drive. CJ Daniels, it had been a long while since we saw him play. I mean, he played 2 snaps last week. It doesn't really count. For him to get that touchdown on just an unbelievable contested grab. Malachi Toney here. It's too bad. For whatever reason, I guess it was too late for Malachi to get into Heisman consideration because he's been playing out of his mind this year, and the defense was phenomenal. So you're right. Well, let's scenarios real quick, Grease. So the teams.
Wait, real quick, Alex. I just want to give you on Malachi.
Yeah.
And this is incredible. If you throw in the 9-yard touchdown pass, right, for Malachi Toney. Yeah. Malachi Toney had 5 rushes for 30 yards, and he had 13 catches for 126. So 156 plus 9, 165 total yards and 2 scores for him on a day when they needed him because Pitt clearly wanted to stop the running game, and a day when Carson Beck went 23 of 29, including hitting 8 of his first 9 throws.
Yeah, so as far as like the help Miami needs, last I checked, BYU had completely pulled away from UCF.
Yeah,
So the BYU and UCF's not good. So I wasn't expecting UCF to help us, but it looks like BYU is going to win comfortably. So we're not going to get that help, but there are a few opportunities tonight. LSU is a really talented team. Their game against Oklahoma just got underway. If number 8 Oklahoma loses to LSU maybe knows Lane Kiffin's about to be their coach. They're auditioning for him. You hope LSU can pull off that one. Alabama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl is getting underway at 7:30. If Auburn, and listen, I think Bama's won the last 5 in that series, but those games are always close and always wacky. Rivalry. And Auburn's pulled off some big upsets before. If Auburn beats number 10 Bama likely falls behind Miami. And, you've got Notre Dame at Stanford tonight. I'm not expecting any help there, but it is at 10:30 p.m., so I don't know. But Stanford's a 33-point underdog, so I'm not expecting any help there. And then, in the ACC, it would really help us if one or both of Virginia and SMU lose today. Virginia hosting Virginia Tech at 7 o'clock. Virginia Tech has won, I think, 19 of the last 20 in that rivalry, but Virginia's the better team now, obviously. But if Virginia Tech can win that game, that gives you a chance to get into the ACC championship game. And 21st ranked Cal SMU 21 playing at unranked Cal at 8 o'clock. Cal just fired their coach. I don't know if that'll help them or hurt them. Maybe the players feel responsible for that. But if they can pull off the upset against SMU, so we'll be scoreboard watching the rest of the day, Grease. But Miami's not completely out of this thing yet.
No, and real quick before we let you go, and I don't know how much time you have, if you got to bounce or not, but
I got to bounce soon. But I'll hit you up with one more.
The sport of college football is better off. So for all the people out there who say that they don't want Miami in, the sport wins if Miami and Notre Dame are in, because the number 1 watch team in the country is Miami. The number 2 watch team in the country is Notre Dame. So make no mistake about it. College football wants them both in, Alex. And if only Alabama would have beaten Oklahoma, and if only we would have finished the SMU game, and if only the Louisville, they're all so close. But, man, it's just it'll be a shame if we don't get in, but I want to keep it positive and hope one of those teams wins. I think the most likely scenario is LSU. I don't know what it is. I just really like LSU in this Oklahoma game, and then possibly Auburn against Alabama being the rivalry game and being at Auburn. So we'll see, man. But you keep it up, and I appreciate you always keeping it positive with me.
I love you, man.
I thought they left too much on the field today. I'm going to disagree with you about the blowout. They should have hung 50 on them.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, nobody's hung 50 on Pitt. Like, I don't know how you could say that's. I will respectfully disagree with you. I would call that a blowout all day. You're favored by what was it, 6.5 points, and you win the game by 31. Grease, that's a blowout, buddy.
Okay, it's a blowout, but it's not enough of a blowout. I wanted 50. I wanted 45. You know what I mean? Just a statement win. One of those, like the Virginia Tech game, any of those, like the NC State game, scoring 40 on them. I think you had to do that to Virginia Tech, and you had to do that to Pitt. If it comes down to Miami and Notre Dame and the head-to-head isn't used, everyone's going to riot. They're not going to look at the losses like they should, and they're not going to look at the margins of victory in these games late like I am. But I love you. I love the work you do. 38-7 is a blowout, but I just don't know that it's enough of one. And
we'll agree. We'll agree it's a blowout, and we got to keep our fingers crossed. And by the way, one more thing about BYU. BYU is going to get to the Big 12 championship game against Texas Tech. I know the committee in the past has claimed like they don't want to penalize you for losing a conference championship game. But if Texas Tech, who already blew them out in the regular season, if they blow them out again in the conference championship game, I think that could hurt BYU. So I think there could be another chance for Miami to pass BYU. Got to keep that hope alive.
Yeah, that would be amazing because and they'd have like loaded guns at the door. Put Miami and Notre Dame in now. Let's go. They want that money
and match them up in the first round. That's what they would want to do
in the ratings, and we beat them again. But a great job by Mario Cristobal's team to finish the season. I don't want to take away from that. And a great job by you as always.
And a great thank you so much, Grease, and thanks to all the everydayers. And let's enjoy this win and hope the chips will fall where they need them to fall. I'll see y'all later.
All right, that's Alex Dono, host of Locked On Canes, and we always keep Alex longer than we think we're going to, and we always end up late into the break, but that's okay because we get such wisdom and knowledge, and this is his channel that he's built to number 10 on the entire network, and yes, we need LSU to win, and yes, we need Auburn to win, and maybe BYU uses a conference championship game, but Man, oh man, what could have been for the Miami Hurricanes this year if only the offense would have developed any kind of consistency at all. To me, they'd be the best team in college football. The defense is really peaking right now under Corey Heatherman. So many things and so many positives to take away, but we are not done yet. A couple of spots to get to, then we come back, we give you the final score, we give you the stars of the game, we give you the turning point, and we pray. Oh, yeah, we pray right here on your Canes Postcast. I'm Grease. That was Alex Dono, Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network in El Mundo, and, of course, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first watch or listen every day, and we will take that break now and wrap up the show right on the other side. Stick around with your Canes Postcast. And I do believe, let me just make sure, is it Omaha? Somewhere in the middle America, getting right to the... They play that at I guess, Alex Rodriguez Field all the time. They play it at Mark Light Stadium. Back in the day when I was doing WVUM, student broadcasting for the Hurricanes baseball team, they'd always play Omaha by Counting Crows because they always went to Omaha for the College World Series. Anyway, speaking of Omaha, it's not just a Peyton Manning word that he butchered. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes that too simple. So put your feet up, relax, and just know that the hard part's taken care of. So whether you're treating yourself like I love to do, hey, Grease, you want a steak? Yeah, Grease, don't mind. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something, best part about being single, by the way. You want steak? We had it last night. Yeah, I know. Let's have it again. Cool. You agree? I agree. Perfect. Let's go. Best part about being single, treating yourself, or you send something memorable to family and friends. Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to your door, their door, anyone's door you want them to deliver it to. And this week, it's the best time to jump in. Why? Because their cyber sale is here, and the deals are huge, like they say back east. Man, have you ever given Omaha Steaks as a gift? You know what it is. That box comes in, and people are like, ooh, yeah, I got some food coming in now. The box arrives. Oh, everything hits the grill. You just love it. The quality's right there. Tender steaks, rich flavor, meals that make hosting a weeknight or any kind of cook night easier. The variety's underrated. Steaks, burgers, comfort meals, sides, desserts. It's one of those gifts that truly fits anyone. Not like your clothes are going to fit, but I'll tell you what, those lean cuts of meat from Omaha Steaks, stick to those and minimize the desserts, even though they're delicious too. But honestly, it is the kind of gift that brings people together, and you don't need to guess anyone's size, and you don't want to guess the lady's size after the dinners either. So save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's extra $35 off. You get 20% off some favorites, 50% off site-wide, $35 off with the code COLLEGE at checkout. omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details with Omaha. Was that a good Peyton Manning? Omaha. That's what he sounds like to me anyway. I don't like Peyton Manning. You know this. Anyway, I also need to tell you a little bit about FanDuel. How about FanDuel, man? The NBA is back. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, right, stacking the action on the action, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now, hey, it's your tomorrow. It's everything. Catch that magic moment with FanDuel, giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com, sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA on the Locked On Podcast Network, numero uno in El Mundo, and your team every day. That's right. Thank you for making your Canes Postcast and Locked On Canes your first watch or listen of the day. YouTube, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you download your podcasts, and of course on Roku over-the-top TV as well. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Locked On Canes, the #10 channel. Locked On Dolphins, the #11 channel. So I'm pumped for that too. Tomorrow, the Dolphins with a big game against the Saints at home, trying to get to 5-7. Can you believe that? With the JETS suck. On the other side of that, the Dolphins could be 6-7 before that Monday night matchup in a couple of weeks against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then you got Burrow back for the Bengals. They play the Bengals too. Some big games down the stretch for Miami. They play the Bucks as well. But the Hurricanes, as we wrap up your Canes postcast with me, Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, class of 96, proud alum of that U. I was just realized that I was taking that break and doing the spot, and it just kind of crosses your mind sometimes while you're reading copy. You get a random thought, and how lucky I am to work with Alex Dono and to have you guys for an audience, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, both with YouTube and with the downloads. We kill it. I mean, we literally kill it numbers-wise, and you guys are huge with that. So thank you to you everydayers. Thank you to you newbies and everybody in between. Thank you for being here every game with me last year and this year, your Canes postcast. But we ain't done yet, baby. We ain't done yet. We still got some numbers to give you. Stars of the game. It's the last show of the season, so good luck playing me off the award show with all that music. It's not really here, but I'm pretending it is. But Miami, look, you have a chance to really blow them out late and get that score in the 40s or 50s. Alex doesn't think it matters. I think it matters a ton. And I think that Beck interception and the late punt could really hurt them if someone's going, oh, they only got in the 30s at Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech. I do believe those things matter when you're looking at that type of head-to-head scenario. But the only thing that should matter is we beat them. We beat them head-to-head. We beat them on the field where it matters. But make no mistake, like I said, there isn't a committee put together. There isn't a sport that wouldn't want to have Miami and Notre Dame. So don't be surprised if the committee finds a way to get both Miami and ND in there. A lot of people rooting for UCF today. It wasn't going to happen there against BYU, but BYU could lose that conference championship game. LSU could beat Oklahoma. There's 10.5 minutes left in that game. That one is at Norman, Oklahoma, and then Auburn and Alabama tonight. So if Alabama loses to Auburn, or if LSU is able to beat number 8 Oklahoma, which Alabama should have done a few weeks ago, any of those things would help Miami get in. And then if BYU has to play again in that championship game in their conference, that would do it as well. But before we get too much into that, let's take a look at the team stats. Miami dominating the Pitt Panthers today, 28-11. They got 28 first downs to 11 for Pitt in this game. And then you look at the total yards, 416 to 229, passing 276 to 199, rushing 140 to 30. They averaged 1.4 yards per carry against our defense. Our run defense has been so great lately. I mean, SMU had negative rushing yards until overtime, and then they ran for 25 yards and beat us. Crazy, right? You look back at SMU, that's the one. We should have won that game by 40 points, and they're probably going to play for a conference championship. And, oh, man. Anyway, penalties, 5 for 28. Pitt had 9 for 88. Each team had a turnover. Beck had an interception late. 35-55 to 24-05 time of possession. Quick look at the box. Carson Beck, 23 of 29, 267, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Malachi Toney, 1 for 2 with a 9-yard touchdown toss. Beck, by the way, his touchdowns were to, of course, Malachi Toney. And then, of course, he threw one to Marty Brown out of the backfield. And then, of course, C.J. Daniels as well. Tony's touchdown went to Elijah Lofton, the tight end. And so let's see. On the rushing side, 10 for 82 for Pringle Jr., 10 for 30 for Fletcher Jr., 5 for 30 for Malachi, who had 165 total yards, plus the 2 scores. And let's see. Receiving, 13 for 126 for Toney. And then the defense, man, they had 4 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss. Ruben Bain, a sack and a half. Moten, a sack and a half today as well. So looking at Miami, pretty good game overall, 38-7. The blowout win, but not the complete blowout. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really wanted to smash them right off the field. And they did. They dominated the game. But I wanted to see a 40 and a 50 these last 2 games at VTech and Pitt. Not that it would have mattered, but if you're in that room and you're deciding between Miami and Notre Dame and you're looking at the records between common opponents, right? And you see the scores that Miami put up against the teams that Notre Dame played, and you realize that the best win for Notre Dame, right? The best loss for Notre Dame was against the second best was against us and Texas A&M. They lose those 2 games. Our losses are worse than theirs, and that's what everybody's using in these formulas. Head-to-head, we beat them. We beat Pitt by more points than they did. Just recently, they played them on their field, and we just did the same thing. So if you're comparing Miami and Notre Dame, I don't see the comparison. Miami should be in, except for the bad losses. The SMU loss is terrible, but you're looking at a team that's more than likely going to be playing in a conference championship game, right? And Louisville up and down, but they should have won both those games, and we wouldn't have had to worry. The only thing we'd be wondering right now is where we'd be ranked, 2 or 3, with Indiana and Ohio State. They would never have Ohio Ohio State leave that number 1 spot. All right, real quick before we wrap it up, a couple of things to do. Thank you so much for being here after every game all season long. Don't know if I'll be back again. Hopefully we have another game, but we shall see. It should be automatic that we're in right now because Notre Dame and all that. So real quick, final score graphic for you. Look at Malachi telling everybody, 38-7 over Pittsburgh, the win. How about the moment? These are the moments. The Miami offense scored on 5 straight possessions after a punt on their opening drive, and the final 4 on that 5-drive streak were touchdowns. And in between, they had that one play that they ran at the end of the half where they just ran the clock out. But what a performance by the offense. And the star of our show, you just put ATH up there, baby. That's an athlete. That is wherever you want him to play. I was texting with Alex during the game. Put him at QB next year for 10, 12 snaps a game. Put him at running back for 5, 6 snaps a game. And then a whole lot of slot, a whole lot of flanker, and a whole lot of split end for Malachi Toney. Want to see him be more aggressive on the punt returns. But, hey, he's been unbelievable all season long. So great job by most of the Miami Hurricanes today. Look, I don't want to pick on them too much. They had to have blown out VTech and Pittsburgh, I think, by more, and they didn't. I'm nervous. I'm on eggshells, the whole Notre Dame thing, but we still have a chance for Auburn to beat Alabama. We still have a chance for LSU to beat Oklahoma, and we still have an outside chance for BYU to make the conference championship game again and get smoked again. And they say we're not putting 2 teams in from this crap conference that we somehow roped ourselves into putting 1 from. You know what I'm saying? And then oh my God, the lower level teams that they're putting in. Don't even get me started, but make no mistake about it. Everybody at the top of the sport wants Miami and Notre Dame in because the number 1 goal is money. You know what it is, of course. So we shall see. But Miami next year, if Cristobal can match the recruiting with the coaching, and I'll just say this, in the NIL and the portal era, anybody could get players to come to Miami. You're in that city. You have that history. You got Michael Irvin on the sideline. You got Ray Lewis there. Come on, man. I know people, whatever you think about Mario, Miami's playing their best football this season right now. Their schedule took a big dip. Pittsburgh, if you look at their performance recently, took a big dip. I'm not letting Mario and Dawson off the hot seat for the way they blew it against Louisville and SMU, and the way that even though we have back-to-back 10-win seasons, you consistently have ramped it up on the recruiting side, but it has not translated into what it should have, which is a top 5 team easily right now in terms of talent. Top 5 is outside at the window going, please let us in. Please let us in. I put that all on Mario and Dawson and Carson Beck with the interceptions in those games. And I'm not going to forget that as I wrap up the show. All right. That is what it is, man. I am a Miami guy. I bleed orange and green, but I truly believe that, man, when you look at what Lane Kiffin did with a Division II quarterback at Ole Miss, Miami's a more talented team than Ole Miss, and they're in the SEC. Miami's a more talented team than Oklahoma, and they're in the SEC. Miami's a more talented team than most of the teams at the top conferences in the country. I believe they're not coached as well as some of those teams are, and many of those teams are, and that's just my belief. But I want to finish on a positive note. 38-7, dominant run defense again for Miami. Look, you got 2 first-round defensive ends. You're getting the cream of the crop, transferring in at QB, and after what Ward did last year, Carson Beck has to be labeled a bit of a disappointment. Don't get me going on the postseason funeral. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I don't hate Mario. I like him as a person. I hosted coaches shows with him when he was at FIU. I did the halftime scoreboards and pregame shows. I know him over the years. I want Mario to succeed. I love that he came back home. I want him to be a better coach in game than he is, but he's not. And his ego is too big for that at that same time, to bring someone in and have them help him manage the games, because he's great at so many other things. There, I said it, okay? Hang me in the town square if you want, but it is what it is. We should not be in the window going, please let us in. We beat Notre Dame. Yeah, I know. We should have definitely pounded SMU. That should have been our slot. Then we'd have a championship game. Then we'd have, no doubt, we'd be a top 5 seed anyway. But that's what it is. Love you guys. Appreciate you being here on YouTube and wherever you download your audio version of your podcast, as well as Roku. You down with OTT? Yeah, you know me. Plus Alex Dono. We're a little over on time because Alex comes on right before the break's supposed to hit. And we can't just keep Alex Dono for 2-3 minutes. We keep him for 8-9 minutes, and then we roll on. So thank you so much for being here. As always, keep your game tight and your mind right. Your fingers crossed, Miami. We should not be ACC titleless and left out of that conference championship game. It's a joke anyway. We should not be in the window crossing our fingers going, please let us in. We are the University of Miami. We are that U. We invented swagger. We have top 3 to top 5 talent in the country. We should be cemented in that playoff. Don't let everybody off the hook now because you're feeling good and you have that recency bias and, oh, they've really turned it up late. No, do not let this staff off the hook for those losses. They were bad losses against teams that had no business beating us, and that's why Notre Dame's ahead of us, because of the crap teams that we lost to. There, I said it. 38-7 Miami. Thank you so much for being here. Keep your game tight and your mind right. Keep on watching. Alex Dono, day in and day out, Locked On Canes podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network, and your team every day.